Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another Manchester United transfer news update live stream. Please do smash that like button as always. See if we can get to 150 likes by the end of this stream. And of course, do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you are new. But what am I going to be talking about in today's transfer news live stream? Well, Dalot looks likely to stay. The Trippier deal is off. Arsenal can waste 30 million on Trippier. Go do one, Atletico Madrid. Midfielder update. Now, Fabrizio Romano gives us the latest on SAUL and Camavinga. I will tell you exactly what Fabrizio Romano and other reliable journalists like The Athletic had to say on the Trippier, SAUL Camavinga situation, which are the three names to watch on. But we know the Trippier is probably not, most definitely not, going to happen anymore. We're going to be talking about Dalot staying to offer Aaron Wan-Bissaka competition. Is that the right choice? And get your fan opinions in on that. Sancho in training today. Sancho's first day of training with Manchester United, so he'll be more than enough, probably on the bench for Leeds. Lingard to Leicester if they lose Maddison. Could we do a Lingard and Didi swap deal with cash? No right back to join the summer, and according to the Mirror, we're going to make no more summer signings, but that is from the Mirror. So, you know, if Romano says we want a centre mid and the Mirror says that we're not going to sign anyone, I'm more likely to assume that we want a centre mid, but there's a possibility we don't sign anyone. But, you know, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're also going to talk about that Eddie Cavani and Rashford will not be involved versus Leeds. So what will our front three be? Will it be Daniel James, Martial, Sancho? Will it be Greenwood on the right, Martial at top, Sancho on the left? Could it be Martial on the left, Sancho on the right, Greenwood on top? What will our front three be as well versus Leeds? We'll be talking about that. But I want to get straight into the news. Nick Morris saying that Bayern are making a move for Haaland. I don't think Bayern are too much of a threat in the race for Haaland because I think Haaland wants to be a Zlatan where he changes leagues and goes to the Premier League. Nick says that PSG are ready to make a bid from Camavinga as well. Now they want him. That is a rumour coming in that PSG are going to go for Camavinga. However, they've just got Messi. They can barely afford Messi's wages. And I think with financial fair play, I don't know if it's possible. But I will keep an eye on PSG to Camavinga, but I don't think it's financially possible. And Nick Morris also says, as it stands now, United are keeping Dalot and no longer looking to buy Trippier and done for the summer as well. But that is according to the Mirror. I know there's no chance of us signing Trippier really anymore, but I know we are in for Camavinga, and I know that Romano said some news regarding SAUL and Camavinga to Manchester United, and he did say keep an eye on the midfield situation. Who's the player Man United signing? Is it Camavinga? Well, I can't tell you exactly who Manchester United is signing, but we know that it's unlikely to be Trippier, and I think it will be a midfielder. Whether it be Camavinga, whether it be Neves, or whether it be SAUL, we'll have to wait and see. But make sure you do hit that like button, subscribe down below, and share this video. By the way, guys, now let me get straight in to a little bit of news, but Alan just says Sancho will play on Saturday at home and will start off the bench just for the fans to cheer him on when he's introduced. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Let me get into a little bit of news, and then I am going to read out a few live chats. I'll just put this up on the screen, the FPL code up on the screen, while I read out some news. But Fabrizio Romano went on the United stand today, and if you don't know who Fabrizio Romano is, then... But no, literally, he's the don of transfers. Fabrizio Romano went to the United Stand YouTube channel today and said the right back and midfielder positions are the two to keep an eye on regarding Manchester United this summer. Romano also said on the United Stand YouTube channel that Camavinga will not extend his contract with Rennes, which is why he's not in a rush to secure his future. He wants to be 100% certain about the project he will be joining. Manchester United are interested. So we know yesterday. So Rennes sporting director said yesterday that Camavinga has to leave and they have to find a solution for him to leave, or he has to sign a new deal. Romano said Camavinga will definitely not extend his contract at Rennes. Romano's basically said, and Rennes basically said that Camavinga will leave. Now, we know Camavinga will leave and we know Rennes will sell. We 100% know that. Now, can PSG get Camavinga now they've got Messi? Probably not, but then it's PSG. But do they need Camavinga when they've got Wijnaldum, Danilo, Paredes, Draxler, Sarabia, Herrera, Verratti, you know, just to name a few in the midfield? Not really. It's a bit fucking greedy, isn't it? You know, Madrid and the Spanish clubs financially can't get Camavinga. And we know that Camavinga's not going to extend his contract. We know he's going to be sold this summer. We know that from Romano. We know that from the Rennes sporting director. And we know that Manchester United are interested. Now, Camavinga wants to be 100% certain about the club he's joining, the project, if he's going to gain time, because this is a really big move in his career. And I understand, sure, he's probably going to take time. You know, you never know, he could end up at somewhere like Dortmund. But as it stands, United are in the strongest position to sign Camavinga. Camavinga's agent is pushing for him to join Manchester United. Rennes obviously want to sell him. Camavinga has to leave Rennes this summer or sign a new deal. And Man United financially are ahead of Barcelona, Real Madrid, and PSG in this race. So I would say, regarding Camavinga, it is a waiting game to see what he does. Maybe PSG is his first choice, but I don't know if that's possible for him with PSG getting Messi. And also, if he goes to PSG, where the fuck is he going to get game time? You got to compete with Fred here. You got to compete with Wijnaldum and Verratti there. Like, I think it's rocket science. Go to United. The French league and watch this dead, in my opinion. But, you know, he's going to make his decision. He's a young lad. He's got a big decision to make. So I think regarding Camavinga, you know, we know we're not probably going to get Trippier. We know we're not getting a right back. We know we want a midfielder. Now, there's rumours that we're not going to sign any more players, but that has come from the Mirror. The Mirror. Now, the Mirror could be right because it is the Glazers and Woodward and, you know, we've got shit owners, but it's come from the Mirror. This has come from Romano. So United want Camavinga. And I'm just going to say it time and time again. I'm positive that we're going to sign another player this summer. I mean, I would put my money on Camavinga, but I wouldn't actually put mine on us signing Camavinga, so I'm not that positive. But I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be optimistic. And, you know, I have a feeling that something could happen with Camavinga to Manchester United this summer. I had a feeling with Varane, I had a feeling with Sancho, and that paid off. So I'm hoping my feeling with Camavinga pays off. But again, I'm not a genius. I'm not a psychic. Don't listen to me. But I would just say wait and see what happens with Camavinga. I think he will leave Rennes this summer, and I think there is a high chance he could go to Manchester United. But, of course, he could snub us for another club. I think that's what I have to say on Camavinga. We just have to really wait until we get some more interesting updates regarding Camavinga. PSG won't get him if they get Messi due to FFP. I think that is the situation. I'm thinking, how did PSG get Camavinga if you look at Messi's wages? Rennes is proud to be a Leicester fan. Well, big up Leicester for beating City in the, Community Shield. And please, Man United, get Maddison swap deal with Jesse Lingard. Well, we don't want Maddison. Like, we don't need Maddison, but I'd do an Ndidi swap deal for sure. I think there is rumours about Lingard going to Leicester. I don't know why Maddison would want to go to Arsenal, though. Like, I'm sorry, why would you want to go to Arsenal? Who knows? And all that. 80 million for Maddison, and we get Lingard for 20 million, maybe. Yeah. Any questions for me? Pop them down below in the live chat. Andrew says he's definitely happy the Trippier's deal is off. Never liked the deal. He can't play in a back four in the PL at this age. And he's not, and the type of fullback he is with his age never made sense to me. I do agree. Look, the Trippier deal was off, and I think Dalot will stay. The Athletic and Fabrizio Romano have hinted that Manchester United are more than happy with Dalot staying, and they basically said the Trippier deal was off. Now, I had no issue with us signing Kieran Trippier if it wasn't coming out the CDM budget. I said, look, if we get a centre-back or right wing in the CDM and then we get Trippier on top of that, I'm not going to complain. But if it's Trippier or a CDM, we're choosing a CDM any day of the week. If it's Trippier or a midfielder, we're choosing a midfielder any day of the week. Because at the end of the day, I wouldn't waste any more than £15 million on a player in his 30s that wasn't that great in the Premier League, that can't play in a back four, that's not really going to offer us much just to give Wan-Bissaka some competition. I think there's more to come from Dalot. Now, is Trippier a better player than Diego Dalot? Of course Trippier's a better player than Diego Dalot. But in 2 years' time, who's going to be a better player? Diego Dalot or Kieran Trippier? Well, Kieran Trippier will be 33. Diego Dalot will be 23. I'd put my money on Diego Dalot. He's a decent player. He's a decent player. Defensively, he's not great. But Dalot is a decent player and all of that. If anyone on the socials do share the stream, hit that like button, subscribe down below and all of that. I'd love Neves. Do we need Trippier right now? We don't need Trippier right now, and I think that's why United have cancelled their Trippier interest. What the news regarding Kieran Trippier is, by the way, for all of you guys, is Fabrizio Romano said on the United Stand YouTube channel today that Manchester United are really happy with Diego Dalot, and they're considering keeping Diego Dalot this summer. Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, another Tier 1 source, said that Kieran Trippier is keen to join Manchester United, but Atletico Madrid are pricing him out of this move. As things stand, United were willing to pay £10 million for Trippier, but Atletico insist on £28 million. In those circumstances, United are cool on slowing down negotiations. And Laurie Whitwell also said that Manchester United feel like Dalot could provide the competition for Wan-Bissaka this season and are not too bothered on the Trippier situation. There's lots of hints that the Trippier deal is off, and I don't think many people have got some complaints on that. Talking about another Atletico Madrid player in Saul Niguez. Now, Saul Niguez has got this Barcelona swap deal going on, but it's really just going there, kind of. And Saul Niguez is willing to Manchester United, Chelsea and Liverpool. We know Liverpool are very keen on the player, having losing Wijnaldum, but we know that Manchester United are keen on Saul Niguez. Now, Romano's confirmed that Saul Niguez will be available at 40 to 45 million euros, which is 34 to 38 million pounds for a player of Saul Niguez's structure, which is insane. Romano confirms that Manchester United are keeping an eye on the Saul Niguez deal. We are interested in Saul Niguez, but we're waiting to see what happens with Barcelona. Now, Fabrizio Romano on the United Stand YouTube channel today also said that Manchester United, Chelsea and Liverpool have been inquiring about Saul Niguez, and he is priced at 45 million euros, so 38 million quid. I think the situation with Saul Niguez is if we sell Lingard, I could see us making a move for Saul Niguez. I don't think he's going to get his move to Barcelona now. However, we need to sell Lingard. Now, we need to sell one of Daniel James, Pereira or Lingard, ideally 2 of them, ideally 3 of them, but we need to sell before we can buy. We know that. The only player I feel like we don't need to sell before we can buy is Camavinga, because he is the dream midfield signing, because he's a long-term signing, and because, you know, it's a 1 in a million if we can get Camavinga, because, you know, if PSG can't afford him and Madrid can't afford him and he has to leave, then, you know, we're in a very, very strong position to get Camavinga. But I think players like Saul Niguez, we'd have to sell to buy. Now, apparently the backup if we don't get Camavinga is RUEBEN NEVES, but I'm pretty sure that story came from the Mirror or the Sun or someone. But look, I think RUEBEN NEVES is a player that we're watching as well. RUEBEN NEVES is a player that we're interested in, but I think the situation is United are waiting to see what Camavinga does. Why are they waiting to see what Camavinga does? They probably want to offload Lingard. They probably want to offload Jones. They probably want to offload Pereira. If they don't get Camavinga and they can get 25, 30 million for Jesse Lingard, I think they would invest that money in Saul Niguez. Because if we get 25 million for Jesse Lingard and we spend 35 million on Saul Niguez, we're only spending 10 million. We're only spending 10 million on a player that can play in the pivot. Can he play as a lone CDM? No. Can he hold his own? No. But could he do a decent job to pivot? Yes. And we do want the midfielder. And, you know, reports coming in today from the Manchester Evening News and many sources basically saying that Manchester United have ended their pursuit of trying to get a right back, and they are going to go for a midfielder. That is sort of the situation coming in. Sancho in training today. A video was released. Sancho's first day at training for Manchester United and all of that. And that's great to see as well. And as much as I want Ndidi, I don't think we're getting. I don't think there's any chance of us getting Ndidi. Obviously, there's a story coming in about Jesse Lingard going to Leicester if they lose Maddison, but again, you'd have to offer Jesse Lingard and 50 million for Wilfred Ndidi, and I don't think we're going to get 50 million pounds unless we sell Martial, unless we sell Pogba. And as it stands, both Martial and Paul Pogba will be staying at Manchester United. So as much as I love Ndidi or even Declan Rice, I don't think we're going to get them. I think if we're going to get a midfielder, it'll be Camavinga, RUEBEN NEVES, or Saul Niguez. I think if we're going to get a midfielder, it's one of those 3. Also, 5 years ago today, Paul Pogba rejoined Manchester United from Juventus. What's your overall feeling 5 years on from signing Pogba? Was it a good deal or not? I remember Stormzy doing the announcement video. It was a massive, massive deal. But what are your thoughts on the Paul Pogba signing? Has he been worth it or not? Or is this season going to be the make or break season for Paul Pogba? I might do a bit of Premier League predictions as well. Alan says Greenwood, Martial, James. What is our front 3 versus Leeds? Because Cavani and Rashford will not be involved versus Leeds. So I'm thinking Sancho on the left, Martial up top, and Greenwood on the right. I'm thinking. However, you could do Greenwood up top, Martial on the left, Sancho on the right. But you could also do, instead of Sancho on the left, you could put Sancho on the bench and put Pogba on the left and then sub on Sancho. But I actually think, you know what? My prediction now for the Leeds starting 11 lineup is Pogba left wing, Martial striker, Greenwood on the right, and Sancho comes on for either Greenwood or Paul Pogba. But I hope Sancho starts. As long as Daniel James isn't getting a start over Jadon Sancho, that wouldn't be the greatest start to Sancho's career. Sadiq says we don't really need to buy a right back this window. I agree. I agree. I just think, like, if we had a CDM and we needed one more signing, sure, get a right back. But we need a CDM so badly that it makes no sense for us to get a right back. James and Lingard need to go, says Dwight BJ, and I agree. Daniel James is £15 million. Jesse Lingard is £25 million. I've said this about 1,000 times before on my channel. You can get £40 million for Lingard and Daniel James. £40 million if you sell Lingard and Daniel James. You know what you can get for £40 million? Basuma, Zakaria, Tuccirini, Cooper Miners, probably a lot of other players. Kessie probably would be a little bit more. Lots of players. RUEBEN NEVES, Camavinga, maybe GORETZKA because he's got 1 year left. Saul Niguez. A lot of fucking players you could get for that much money, and I 100% agree with that comment. Leicester are a much more stable project than Arsenal. I don't know why their players would go to Arsenal. Exactly that. I understand going from Leicester to United. I understand going from Leicester to Chelsea. I understand from going to Leicester to City. I understand going Leicester to Liverpool. But to go from Leicester to Spurs or Arsenal, for me, that's a downgrade. Because Leicester have been in the top 4 race the last 2 seasons. Spurs haven't. Arsenal haven't. Leicester, although they are the biggest top 4 bottlers in Premier League history, bottling on the last day twice when they spent basically the whole season in the top 4, you got more chance of Champions League football with Leicester than you do with Arsenal. You know, the last time Arsenal in the Champions League, Paul Pogba played for Juventus. you know, banter club. I don't get it. Take a CDM 100%. Rich Sport says, big up Rich Sport. Go subscribe to his channel. Says CDM is a priority. Forget about backup defender. It takes money out of the budget. And I 100% agree with Rich Sport. Now, the Trippier deal, I believe, is off and Dalot is going to stay. And I just think when you need a CDM so badly, there's no point wasting £20 million on Kieran Trippier. Atletico Madrid wanting £28 million for Kieran Trippier is like Brighton wanting £50 million for Ben White. And I don't think we're stupid enough to pay money like that. I know a club that would be, but not us. Not us. Alan says Martial to Inter, we can't afford to lose him, especially without placement, but Martial really needs a good season. I agree. I think Martial really needs to have a good season, but with Rashford out and Cavani not going to be available the first couple of games of the season, we do need Martial fit and firing for sure. We can't lose Martial this summer. I think we could lose Martial next summer when Haaland comes on the market for £60 million. And I said this time and time again, if Kane gets City, if City get Kane and Chelsea get Lukaku and Real Madrid get Mbappe and PSG have got Messi, it's between United, Barcelona, Bayern and Liverpool for Haaland and Juventus. Now, Juventus finances are in the mud, Barca's finances in the mud, so it's really between Man United, Liverpool and Bayern for Haaland. Now, with Bayern, he probably wants to change leagues. With Man United and Liverpool, we have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's got a good relationship with. We've got Jadon Sancho, who's got a good relationship with. I think he almost joined us before. So I think we're in a really, really strong position to potentially get Haaland next season if Harry Kane goes to Manchester City. And for me, that's the only positive of Manchester City signing Kane, is because I think it opens the door for us to actually seriously get Haaland, because I know Ollie would love Haaland and I know we're a strong possibility. And 60 million for Haaland's a steal. I think Martial will stay this summer, but I think when Haaland's on the market and if we get Haaland, Martial will go. Will we get Haaland? We'll have to wait and see. I never thought we'd get Haaland, but with Lukaku going to Chelsea and Kane going to City, I do believe there's a strong chance we could get Haaland next summer. But we definitely have to wait and see with that one, wouldn't we? And all of that. Sachin says, Saul, Lingard, Pereira, Mata, Jones, James, Dalot, Henderson, and break the bank for Ndidi. I agree, that's what I would do. But when you've got so much deadwood on such high wages, it's really, really hard to sell players and all that. Dalot looks good. He looks way better than he was previously. I think with Dalot, he had a lot of injury issues and maybe Ollie didn't trust him. Now, going forward, Dalot is a solid player. I think, he's a little bit more experienced. He's probably better than he was 2 seasons ago. Is Dalot the best competition with Wan-Bissaka? Not the best, but he can be backup left back when Tellers is out injured. He can be backup right back. I think, especially with Tellers' injury and us wanting to send Williams out on loan and Trippier being a waste of fucking money, I'm more than happy for us to keep Dalot at the club, because Dalot is over a year younger than Wan-Bissaka. Dalot is 21, 22. He's got potential to be a good player. I just think defensively he's poor. But I guess if you're playing a team like Burnley or Wolves, who are realistically going to part the bus against Man United, maybe you want Dalot's attacking output. Maybe you want rotation of Dalot. So I'm more than happy to keep Dalot, especially if it means we do not waste 20 million quid on Kieran Trippier. And hopefully we invest that Kieran Trippier money into a CDM. If we cannot get Neves or Camavinga, why not go for Sakaria? I feel like with Sakaria, maybe Ollie doesn't trust him because he's in the Bundesliga, doesn't know enough about him. Maybe it's his injury record, but I do think with Sakaria having 1 year left on his deal, I know he hasn't been as good this season as previous seasons. I would say you could get Sakaria for £20 million. I think, if we don't sign anyone come end of the transfer window, it's 20 million panic buy on Sakaria. I wouldn't complain. That would be one of our better panic-wise. This window should be get in and get out. Where are the outs? Yeah, exactly. We've got 2 of our players in, but we need to get rid of Lingard. We need to get rid of Pereira. We need to get rid of Jones. We need to get rid of James. We should have got rid of Mata. If we get a CDM, Matic can go. But I do like Matic. And the reason I'd keep Matic around is because he's the only player at our club that can do his job. And we shouldn't have given Lee Grant a deal. I agree. Dalot says, all signs are good. It seems only reason why we miss out on Camavinga is he really doesn't want to come here. I pray he does. And that's a solid point. I think we're in the strongest position to get Camavinga. He has to leave Rennes. Rennes are willing to sell to us. Camavinga's agent wants him to come to us. We're beating the Spanish clubs financially. PSG have signed Messi, so they can't concentrate on Camavinga. I think the only chance we don't get Camavinga this summer is if he just generally doesn't want to come here. And Man United are like, okay, well, we don't want to waste money on a player that doesn't want to come here. We're not going to sign him for the sake of it. So I do agree with your point. Alice, why isn't Cavani trained yet? I think he was promised a longer holiday as part of his new contract deal because he's older. I think he needed a longer holiday. I think that encouraged him to stay a little bit longer. If you are new to the channel, guys, please do make sure you subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, please do click that subscribe button down below. We are going to be live tomorrow night with another transfer news live stream, Wednesday night with a transfer news live stream, and then Thursday night I'll be getting a guest on the channel and we'll be doing the Manchester United versus Leeds match preview, talking about the Leeds game, which will be really exciting. Obviously, on the Saturdays, the watch along and the match reaction, and then back on the Sunday with a transfer news video. So for daily transfer news live streams, for match reactions, match previews, match watch alongs, and all of that, do subscribe to the channel. We are 45 subscribers away from 16.1k. We're on the road to 20k. We're going to try and hit 20k by end of 2021. So do subscribe, by the way. Thought I just plugged the channel there. Any questions as well, do get them down below in the live chat. I'm now going to address some of the live chat questions. Nick Morris says, I don't think Atletico are keen on bringing Griezmann back as he won't take a pay cut. Exactly. This is a solid point here from Nick. Now, obviously, Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool are keeping an eye on the Griezmann Saul swap deal, and if that falls through, United in a very, very strong position to possibly swoop up Saul. Now, my question is, would you take Saul at Manchester United? 34 to 38 million pounds to bring Saul to Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano confirmed. Fabrizio Romano said on the United stand today, United are interested in Saul. Fabrizio Romano said in the past, we're watching the Saul situation. If this deal falls through between Barcelona and Atletico, which is looking more and more likely by the moment, United in a very, very strong position to maybe beat out Liverpool and beat out Chelsea for Saul. But I think the only way we can get Saul is, one, if he still falls through with Barcelona, which I think will happen, and two, I think we have to sell Lingard to get Saul just to raise those extra funds. But I think if we don't get Camavinga and Camavinga doesn't come to us, I think we will be focused on Saul. And Romano says, keep an eye on Manchester United signing midfielder, because I do believe that we're going to get a third signing in. I think to get our first and second signing in so early, it's given us so much time to get a third signing that even though you've got your first two choice signings, I don't think there's an excuse not to get a third signing with the amount of time that we've had to get a third signing. Alice, what is the FPL? The FPL code is on my screen, by the way, if you do want to join my fantasy Premier League team as well. Cavani is getting an extended vacation, as ABCD says. Yeah, that is the case with Cavani. I'm just going to scroll down. I have missed out of quite a few live chats, so do get some live chats down lower in the chat for me. Glazer says, shit, I agree with that comment there. Daniel James is staying. I believe Daniel James will stay. I believe Martial will stay. I believe Dalot will stay. I think Pereira will go, and I do think Lingard will end up going. I hope Shaw and Maguire will play like they did for England. I think Shaw and Maguire are such key players in the core of this team. I think they will have good seasons. Daniel James should join Leeds United and Jesse Lingard should join Everton. So Samuel, yeah, I think Jesse would do all right at Everton, but I think Leicester would suit Jesse more. And Nick Morris says Greenwood with Martial and Sancho each side, maybe even James starting look lively Saturday. I do somewhat agree with that as well. And Liverpool looking strong this season. I haven't really seen any of Liverpool this season. Are Liverpool playing? Liverpool 3-0 up against Osasuna. Well, they are a bit of a shit team, but fair play, Liverpool. I'm just going to take a quick drink of water, but any questions to me, pop them down below in the live chat. The situation is, for those of you that's just joined the live stream, by the way, guys, the situation right now at Manchester United is Dalot's looking more and more likely to stay. Trippier deal is kind of off done. United do not want to get a right back this summer. They're going to focus the final couple of weeks of the transfer window on getting a midfielder. Now, the midfielder, I believe, will most likely to sign is Camavinga if he wants to come to us. Now, if Camavinga doesn't want to come to us, we won't sign him. But if Camavinga wants to come to us, I think we will sign him, because PSG, they've just got Messi. Can they get Camavinga without breaking FFP rules? I'm not sure. Can the Spanish clubs get Camavinga financially? Probably not. Plus, Real Madrid are focusing on Mbappe, which means United are front runners to get Camavinga's agent's position for United. And we do know from Fabrizio Romano and Mohamed Bahasfi, I can't say his name, that United have made contact with Camavinga, made contact with RENNES. You know, we're really interested to get this deal done. Romano said that Camavinga to Man United is our dream third signing. So I think if we're going to sign a third player, I would put my money on Camavinga, but I wouldn't put any money on Camavinga because I still think it's a very 50-50 between Man United and PSG for Camavinga, because if he doesn't want United, I don't think we will get him. You know, Spurs are rebuilding their team. They're going to be stronger than before. You know what? Fair play to Spurs. They signed Christian Romero. Now, Christian Romero was the best centre-back in Serie A last season. He's very, very young. Just because he's not Premier League proven doesn't make him bad. I think he's a better player than Ben White. I think he's a better player than Canate. Christian Romero, the 23-year-old Atalanta centre-back, has gone to Spurs. I think that is an absolutely top draw signing for Tottenham Hotspur. And you know what? Tottenham look like they're in the mud. They're spending a lot of money. They're probably going to lose their talisman in Harry Kane. But I think Tottenham have made some really, really good signings in Romero. So, you know, you could watch out for Pogba. Jonas says sell Paul Pogba. we can't sell him. Like that PSG can't get Paul Pogba. They literally can't now. I think what Romano said regarding Paul Pogba was Romano had something to say. Romano said on the United stand that there has always been new chances for Paul Pogba to stay at Manchester United. PSG have never been in direct contact. And I think it's based what we know about Paul Pogba is he's staying at Man United next season. He leaves on a free or he signs a new deal. That's what we know about Paul Pogba as well. Also, obviously, with Lukaku joining Chelsea, we will get about €5 million from the Lukaku deal as well. So that's an extra £5 million to hopefully invest in a CDM and all of that. Andrew says we need Martial for depth with Cavani's age and Greenwood's inexperience. Not many people forget how many quality number 9s we've had in the same squad under Sir Alex Ferguson. Exactly. Look, I'm Martial in. I mean, I'd replace Martial with Haaland in a heartbeat. I like Martial. I do rate Martial. Yes, he's been shit for the last year, but I like and rate Martial. I think what Andrew said is with Greenwood's inexperience, with Cavani's age, we should keep Martial. And I completely agree with what Andrew has to say there. And 3 weeks left in the windows. Come on, Man United, sell some players now. We do need to sell players, and I think that's a frustrating situation at Man United. Like, where are outs? We need to make some outs. So, yeah, I do agree with that as well. Can we hurry up and make them outs? Any questions to me, do pop them down below. Premier League clubs will be allowed 9 substitutes when the new season kicks off this weekend. Allowed to name 9 substitutes when the Premier League kicks off this weekend. So we're allowed to name 9 players on our bench as well. So more space for Donny on the bench versus Leeds. In more news coming in. Trippier is 31. He'd be deadwood in 2 years. Exactly. And Trippier could be deadwood after a year. I'm quite glad that we're probably going to keep Dalot and not go for Trippier. Inter are prepared to go for Martial, but this story is coming from the Mirror, so honestly take it with a pinch of salt. I'd be absolutely shocked if Martial left Man United this summer. I think maybe next summer with Haaland being available for 60 million, Martial could easily leave, but I do think that, you know, I wouldn't be too worried about that. I think Martial's staying. 166 people watching, so please do smash that like button. We're currently on 67 likes. Let's see if we can get to 150 likes by the end of the live stream, and hopefully 100 likes in the next couple of minutes. So everybody watching, smash that like button. And of course, if you're new to the channel, you've not seen my face before, and you're not subscribed, do subscribe down below to Alice Talks for daily Manchester United live streams and updates. I do transfer news updates, match reactions, match previews. So yeah, I'm doing a watch along for the Leeds game, a match reaction for the Leeds game, and there's a transfer news live stream tomorrow, transfer news live stream Wednesday. So if you want to stay up to date with all the latest news, do subscribe and all of that. But I've got a couple things I wanted to talk about, guys, in the video for those of you that just joined. So we know that Dalot is likely to stay, and we've ended our interest in Kieran Trippier. He's too much. We know that we're going to go for a midfielder and no longer a right back in the coming days of the transfer window. And we know that Camavinga is the dream midfielder, and we know that we know from Fabrizio Romano that Camavinga will not extend his deal at Rennes, and we know from Rennes that Camavinga will have to leave if he doesn't extend his deal, meaning that Camavinga has to leave Rennes this summer. And we know United are the team most interested in him. We know Camavinga's age is him pushing for him to join Manchester United, and we know with Messi to PSG, we might be able to beat PSG to him. But all we know is we've got to wait and see what Camavinga does, because Camavinga is going to go to the club he wants to go to. Sancho had his first day of training today. Romano gives an update saying United are interested in SAUL. He would be about 34 to 38 million. And I think if we can sell Lingard and we don't get Camavinga, I'd be pretty confident we make a move for SAUL or Neves. But I do think Camavinga is the priority right now, and Lingard could possibly go to Leicester if they lose Maddison, and that is a little bit of news coming in. And Paul Pogba will stay at Manchester United, whether he signs a new deal or not. He could leave on a free, he could not, but Paul Pogba will stay at Manchester United. Matic can be backup CDM if we get a new young one. I agree, Matic could be good experience. I don't think Matic is deadwood like Mata and a lot of other players are deadwood, but I do think in an ideal world you would be trading out Matic this season. Did you see my training picks? I did, and Shane says ideally the perfect end to the window would be to sell the deadwood and sign Neves. I just love him for that CDM role, as I feel he can cement that role, having played there before. Says Shane. Now I'm not the biggest fan of Neves to Man United. I'd be happy if we signed Neves, but I do think there's better options out there. I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's the player that can take us to that next level, if you want my honest opinion. But I think Neves would be a good signing for Manchester United. For me, there's players I view above Neves. But yeah, I do agree Neves could definitely improve us. And Alan says, I want to see Ollie use his squad rotation and early subs are key. Otherwise, we will see players becoming fatigued and lose form again. And that's something I want to talk about. Let me just take a quick drink of water. But towards the end of last season, Rashford dropped off massively. Now, if we looked at the stats at Christmas time, at Christmas time, Bruno Fernandes was running away with Premier League Player of the Year. At Christmas time, Bruno was running away with Premier League Player of the Year. I made a TikTok in January talking about the players that had the most goal contributions this season, not including penalties, and Rashford and Bruno were in the top 5 for most goal contributions this season, not including penalties, in January. And then something kind of happened in February where we just went downhill. And it was the fatigue, because I realised that Bruno doesn't get a break. Rashford doesn't get a break. Luke Shaw's been good this season, one, because he's allowed to have a break with Tellez, and he's had that bump, Bush. You know, Luke Shaw gets a break. Paul Pogba gets a break. Greenwood gets a break. Rashford and Bruno never got a break, and they were the two players that I think dropped off massively towards the end of last season. Obviously, Rashford was injured, but first half of the season, Bruno versus second half of the season, Bruno was just different levels. And Bruno looked really, really good in pre-season the other day. Bruno looks ready, looks fresh. And I think with Sancho coming in, that takes a little bit off Rashford. But I do think Ollie needs to use his bench more. Ollie 100% needs to use his bench more, because he needs to rotate. Because if you're playing Bruno Fernandes 90 minutes 3 times a week, he's exhausted by the end of the season. And that's my frustration. I know Bruno isn't I know Johnny isn't a Bruno replacement, but he overplayed Bruno, he overplayed Rashford, he overplayed Maguire. They were the 3, and he overplayed Wan-Bissaka. The 4 players he completely overplayed last season. And by the end of the season, they just look. Do you know what I mean? So I think that is my criticism of Ollie. He needs to make more subs. You know, for Fred to play shit for 90 minutes and we need a goal, and you're leaving Donny on the bench last season, I thought was an absolute disgrace. Cavani hoping to fly back on Thursday, and all of that. Yep, Cavani will not be involved versus Leeds. United 1-0 Leeds, my prediction. We will talk about the Leeds game in just a sec. And Pereira and Lingard could leave in the last week of the window. United will only sign a midfielder once they are sold. Nick, now that doesn't surprise me. I think we'll make a midfield signing last week of the transfer window, and I think if we can't get Camavinga, we'll go for Neves or Saul Niguez. That's my bet. I think Dalot will stay. Camavinga wants PSG. I know Camavinga wants PSG, but Camavinga might not be able to get PSG unless he stays at Rennes another year. And Rennes are like, no, we're not going to let that happen. You've got to go. We're not letting you go on a free. And all of that. And Mario Williams says, Basuma better. Yeah, I take Basuma over Neves. That's my opinion. What's your prediction on Leeds United? I think United will win the game 2-0. And Sancho says, yeah, I take Saul at United, but what about the sell to buy thing? We need to sell to buy Saul Niguez. We need to sell to buy Saul Niguez. We need to sell Lingard before we could get Saul Niguez. Now, Lingard, 25 million, boom. Saul Niguez, 35 million, boom. 10 million net spend, get Saul Niguez, bada bing, bada boom. That is what I do, but would United do that? This guy says, Man United will keep winning trophies if they continually release or sell shitty players and always buy top talent and keep a coach who has the best football strategies and tactics. I agree. I think to win trophies, we need to get rid of the deadwood, buy fresh players, get the top coaches. And now one thing we have done, which is kind of like a new signing, is we did nab that set-piece coach from Chelsea. And I think looking at how awful we were at set-pieces last season, I think that set-piece coach could almost be like a new signing. I think we need a defensive coach to improve Wan-Bissaka's positioning, maybe tell Maguire to not be the spare man and Lindelof to be the spare man, maybe a coach that's going to tell Ollie that McFred is shit. Yeah, I think, you know what? Yeah. Noel Kane says, the way I see it, I can see this going right down to the wire to sign a midfielder. If it's Camavinga or other, I've got a feeling it could go right down to transfer deadline day. Look, knowing Man United, we could be sitting here on transfer deadline day doing a live stream going, we signed no one. Cool, we signed Sancho and Varane, but that was well over a month ago. We could be sitting there going, Man United had 6 weeks to sign a CDM or just a midfielder that we desperately needed, and they didn't. They had 6 weeks to sell Deadwood, and they didn't. We could be sitting here, or we could be sitting here come in 3 weeks' time, come deadline day, being like, boom, Camavinga in, or boom, Neves in, or boom, Saul in, deadline day, boosh, 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 boosh. Like, you never know with United where we're going to be. But I think it's a situation of, if Camavinga chooses PSG, it's sell Lingard and go for Saul. I think it's, we go for Camavinga. If we don't get Camavinga, we'll go for Saul. And if we don't get Saul, then we're fucked and we get no one. I think it is one of those situations. I think it is go for a midfielder. It is maybe sell to buy, but I think with Camavinga, because he's the dream midfielder, he isn't as much sell to buy. Let's get some more likes on the stream, guys. Let's see if we can hit 150 likes by the end of the live stream. So if you have not hit that like button, just hit that like button. It takes a second. Smash that like button. as well. Any questions for me, pop them down below in the live chat. I'm going to try and read out and reply to as many questions as possible in the chat. Barcelona doing a yard sale for their high-wage players. None of them are DMs, though. I mean, I'd take De Jong. De Jong's the only Barcelona player that I would take at Manchester United right now. And he played in the pivot with Donny at Ajax, but I don't know if he is, like, the player. He's not like a CDM that could take the game and hold it. But what we did learn, actually, talking of pre-season, what we did learn in pre-season is Donny can play in the pivot, which I hope we see Donny in the pivot versus Leeds. I don't want to see McTominay play him. Shane says, delighted we aren't going for Trippier, never wanted him. Let's give Dalot a chance. I hope you get Neves for CDM. I think I read out that comment. And I haven't seen enough of Romero, but he's highly rated in Serie A. Spurs have a good scouting time. Yeah, I think the Spurs centre-back is a very, very good signing. And how far do you think we'll get in the Champions League this season? Well, hopefully out of the group stage. You know what? We are the semi-final bottlers. So it's only right, I say, we're going to get semi-final. So I think we'll make it to the semi-final. The man, myth, the legend, Phil Jones is back in training. Like, guys, I don't know why we signed Varane. We've got Phil Jones back next season. Like, he's our best player. Haaland, 75 million release clause. I think it's 75 million euros. I thought it's a 60 million pound release clause. Haaland release clause 2022. Is it 75? It's 75 million euros, which is probably 60-something million pounds. 75 million euros to pounds. I'm assuming it's like 66 or something. Let me make a guess. 63 million pounds. So it's 63 million pounds and all of that. Alice, how would you rate the transfer window? 2 in, not including Heaton, but outgoings. Look, for me, the transfer window's a 6.5 out of 10. No, the transfer window's a 7 out of 10 right now because we've got Sancho and Varane, our main 2 targets. We signed 2 quality players. It's a 7 out of 10. It's a good transfer window, but it's not a great transfer window. You'd expect better. For me, to make it a 10 out of 10 transfer window, we need to get rid of that Deadwood and we need to sign a CDM, or at least a midfielder that could play in the pivot alongside Paul Pogba or Donny van der Beek. Neves or Untied, but my preference is Basuma or Untied. I agree. And JB says, big up Alice. Hope you were good. I hope everyone in the chat as well. Yeah, big up everyone in the chat. Any questions, do put them down below. And of course, like and subscribe. We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers, by the way, on the Alice Talks Football channel. I'm doing daily Manchester United content. I do a live stream at 7:45 pretty much every evening. I do watch-alongs, match reactions, transfer news, all of that. And I try and get the live chat involved as much as possible in my live streams. If you like the idea of that, do subscribe. And Mr. Randomizer says that money for Trippier was a load of shit. Athletic Madrid are pricks. Look, I mean, 28 million for Trippier is a bigger rip-off than Ben White for 50 million pounds, in my opinion. How much should United pay for Camavinga? Because of the 1 year left on his deal, because the Rennes will literally have to sell him or they won't get anything for him, and there's not much competition for him because of so many financial crises right now. I think we could get Camavinga for as little as 20 to 30 million pounds, if you want my honest opinion. And all that. Matic and Donny look quite good together in the pre-season game against Everton. I agree. I'd like to see Matic and Donny versus Leeds over McFred. Andrew says he highly rated Ander when he was with us, but no need to bring him back. He's almost 32. I agree. I loved Ander Herrera. I would never have sold him, and when we sold him, we didn't replace him. But yeah, many players dropped off. Ollie needs to rotate more this season. He can't run footballers into a ground, which is a brilliant point from Andrew, as I mentioned earlier. I think one thing Ollie's got to learn from I think Ollie's weak points last season were his lack of rotation and his lack of subs. And I think if Ollie seriously wants to win a trophy next season, you've got to make changes because, you know, he lost us the Europa League final. I don't care what you think. If Ollie had made an attacking change and he didn't play for penalties, I think we would have won that game. We lost on penalties because Ollie made defensive changes. He took players like Paul Pogba off. You had Donny van der Beek and Amadiello on the bench that could have offered a lot more than Mata and Tellers that you sub on. You played for penalties under Gunnar Solskjaer, and we want a manager. If we want to win trophies, you need a manager that's going to take risks. And I think if Ollie wants to go to that next level, and what Ollie needs to do is he needs to win a trophy. He needs to prove something to Man United. If he wants to do that, he's got to rotate the squad more. Look at Pep Guardiola. He ran away with the Premier League. You know, was in a race for a quadruple at one point, went 22 wins in a row because of the amount of squad rotation he had, because fitness in football is so important, especially when you have to play so many games. Fitness in football is incredibly important. I think if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer really wants to keep his job at Manchester United, he needs a CDM, of course, so he can ask the team. But if you really want to become something at Manchester United, you need to rotate more. You need to use your subs more. Squad rotation and substitutions. Substitutions change games, squad rotation improves fitness, and that's two things that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must do going in to next season. Bruno and Rashford were relentless last season. Just a shame they faded off because they literally didn't get a break. Great free kick from Bruno versus Everton. I agree. And Ole doesn't like to rotate the squad, probably because he's scared of taking risks. I agree. The amount of times we were 0-0, we were 0-0 in so many games, and I was sitting there thinking, United can win this game. I was literally sitting there going, we can win this game. You know, Arsenal 0-0, we could have won that game. 2 0-0s versus Chelsea, we could have won that game. 2 0-0s, the 0-0 versus Liverpool, the 0-0 versus City, we could have won that game. The 0-0 versus Leeds, we could have won that game. The 0-0 versus Crystal Palace, we could have won that game. And in all those 0-0 games, unless it was a game against Crystal Palace, you know, Ole didn't make any changes in the 0-0 Arsenal, the 0-0 Chelsea, because it's a top 6 team. In all those 0-0 games, if Ole had made an attacking substitution before the 85th minute, I'm talking an attacking substitution in the 60th minute, 60 to 65th minute, I think we could have won a lot of those games. I generally think if Ole had made attacking substitutions in the 60th minute versus Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool, City, Crystal Palace, Leeds, all those 0-0s, we could have picked up at least 9 more points. You know, maybe even more. Like, we could have been in a real title challenge. And I think that was Ole's letdown, because I think the Europa League final, why did we lose? Because Ole didn't make the right subs. He played for penalties. He didn't play to win. He was scared to take risks. That's why we lost the Europa League final. Why did Man City run away with the title in the end? Because of our 0-0 drops, because Ole was scared to take risks. And if Ole wants to win trophies, he's 100% got to go out and take those risks. Brest Bruno with Donny Cam in some games. Donny isn't really a cam, but I think you would need to play Donny Cam. You can actually play Jadon Sancho as a cam. If I look at Jadon Sancho's stats, he's actually played a lot of games as a cam, believe it or not. Look, let me, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Just a second, by the way. Let me share my screen. Share screen. Bear with. Okay, let's look at Jadon Sancho's career stats, shall we? Look at his lovely little stats here, by the way. JB says, I hope Sancho and Varane can start versus Leeds. I think Sancho will, but I think Varane will be on the bench. But bada bing, bada boom. This is Sancho's career stats, by the way, guys. 181 games, 74 goals, 75 assists. So that's 149 goal contributions in 181 games. But let's have a look at his career. So he's played 19 career games as an attacking midfielder, which is a cam. 81 games as a left winger, 72 games as a right winger, and 3 games as a centre forward. But as an attacking midfielder, 19 games, 5 goals, 9 assists. It's a goal contribution every other game. It's never going to have Bruno's numbers. But Sancho can do a job in the cam if we really needed to rotate. But this is what we can see. Left winger, 81 games, 41 goals, 32 assists. In 81 games, he's got 73 goal contributions as a left winger. I know we brought him in to be a right winger, but with Rashford injured, I think Sancho on the left, Greenwood up top. Sancho on the left, Martial up top, Greenwood on the right could really be something. Or Sancho on the right, Greenwood up top, Martial on the left could really be something next season. He's very, very good on the right as well. 25 goals, 37 assists. But we know that Sancho can play all along the front three. But I think with Rashford being out, it's really good that he can play on the left wing. Obviously, we brought him in as a right winger, but worst comes to worst, we could rotate Sancho with Bruno as well. You never know. Someone's asked me, who do I think this third signing will be? I think it could be Camavinga, but I wouldn't put money on it. If I had to make a guess, I would just say Camavinga, just for the pure chance of, I know that PSG can't really get Camavinga without breaking FFP. I know the Spanish clubs are in the mud, and I know that Camavinga kind of has to leave. So if I was going to make a bet, I guess I would say Camavinga, but I wouldn't put money on it. But I think it will. I think we will make a third signing, and I think it will be a midfielder. Any questions for me? Please do pop them. Pardon me. Please do pop them down below in the live chat, and do subscribe to Alice Talks Up if you're not subscribed. We are 35 subscribers away from 16.1k. We've got over 100 people watching, so do click that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. The FPL code is up on the screen. Kelvin says, indeed, is a DM. United need to move forward to the next level for real. I agree, and all of that. This guy says, Mark Growwood said to release or sell useless players only if they need no replacements, and to buy the best possible CDM. Forget Trippier. I agree with what he said there. Leeds will be a tough game. I agree with you there, JB. I am worried about the Leeds game. They have a lot of energy. I just hope he does not play MUFC versus Leeds. I really hope he's learnt from last season that MUFC are useless and he does not play them versus Leeds. Keep smashing the like button, guys, and do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. Let's aim for 150 likes before the live stream is over. And Mr. Randomizer says, How much bullying Lukaku will do, and Werner will do a lot of rinsing over defenders this season. Lukaku and Werner, I think, is almost the perfect how am I going to describe the midfield, the perfect striking partnership, because obviously Lukaku played in a very similar system, a 5-back system at Inter. Obviously, Tuchel just employs a 5-back system. You've got Werner for the pace and the movement. You've got Lukaku for the physicality and the finishing. I think Werner got a lot of assists last season, actually. Werner got a lot of assists last season. Let me look at Timo Werner's stats. Timo Werner stats. Let me look at Timo Werner's stats. Timo Werner got a lot of assists last season, and he's going to be doing a strike partnership with Lukaku. And I honestly think that's going to be lethal next season at Chelsea. I just look at Werner's stats. Werner got 15 assists last season. 15 assists last season Werner got, and he wasn't even having his best season. Imagine that with Lukaku next to him. Lukaku's finishing, because Chelsea's finishing was pretty dreadful. I do worry Chelsea could win the league, because Lukaku and Werner is nasty. It is 100% nasty. I don't want to see it. It's a very, very good partnership, and together Lukaku Werner could destroy. I think that is the perfect partnership. Lukaku thrived at Inter with that 5 at the back system that Tuchel's going to deploy. He's going to have Werner next to him to do the movement. Werner's movement is so good. Yes, Werner's finishing was crap last season, but Werner's movement is so good that he drew defenders away from him. It's going to free up space for Lukaku, who's bosh, physical, bang, finish. I am scared. About Lukaku to Chelsea. I won't lie. The only good thing about Lukaku to Chelsea is maybe it means United can get Haaland. Rodney says both Basuma and Ndidi's respective teams will be looking at 60 million, while Neves is priced at 35 million, which is a solid point. I don't think Basuma would be that much, but you do make a solid point there. Any questions for me, guys, do get them down below in the live chat, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Obviously, I read out that comment. Go out and attack. I think we do need to go out and attack Leeds because they're not great defensively. Lukaku is a huge signing for Chelsea. I agree. New is coming out. Other than Man U YouTube sites, no more transfers this window. There's a new story that's come out that Man United will not make any more transfers this window. Now, this news that's come out has come from the Mirror. Now, my situation and stance with this is Romano saying keep an eye on Man United in the midfield situation. The Athletic is saying that we want a midfielder. Am I really going to believe the Mirror saying we're not going to sign anyone? Well, to be fair, it's Man United. Of course, we could not sign anyone else. Of course, we could do all our business and spend 6 weeks not selling or buying anyone else. It's United. But I think because the stories come from the Mirror that we're not signing anyone else, I'm not bothered. If Fabrizio Romano came out and tweeted right now, Man United will not sign any more players, I would be live telling you guys that we're not going to sign any more players. There's a possibility we don't sign any more players, but it's come from the Mirror. So I'm not too worried about that story. Andrew says Bielsa figured Ollie out second fixture against them last term. He doesn't give us space to run into. I hope Ollie has another game plan for Leeds. Yeah, I think, Ollie tried the same thing versus Leeds, and Bielsa knew what Ollie was going to do, so it was very, very easy for Bielsa to get that 0-0. I think Ollie's got to try and maybe something different versus Leeds, 100%. And all of that. If we fail to bring Camavinga to United, we should try Shakaria or Gladbach, another good DM. I agree, we just need to go for any good DM. And Lukaku was a huge success at Inter, he was. And Camavinga wants PSG, South staying Atletico, then who will be our signing? And probably put my money on Neves or someone we've never heard of that comes in last minute. And we're like, oh, okay then, well, we'll take him if he's a CDM. Alice, what position do you think we'll finish? I'm going with third, but if we get a CDM, I think we can challenge. But I think it'll be Chelsea and Man City top, Liverpool fourth, United third. We need a midfielder like Jorginho at Man United. I wouldn't say Jorginho's the midfielder we need. I think he's a good midfielder. I think he's underrated or now becoming overrated because everyone's saying he's underrated now. I think we need an Ndidi. We need a Rice. We need a CDM that can actually take the game and hold, like protect the defense and hold and stuff. Because we've got Donny, who's very, very good. Tiki-taka passing, moving the ball forward, good movement. Bruno's obviously a chance creator. Pogba's a chance creator. We've got 3 midfielders that can break the lines. So we don't need a CDM that can break the lines. We just need a CDM that can pass and that can just do its defensive job and free up Donny, free up Pogba. I think that's exactly what we need. And all of that. And Fab Romano said he believed United is not done in the transfer window. Exactly. This is the thing. United will get the right position as next signing is proper DM. Remember last summer we waited till deadline day. Exactly. You know, we did wait until do a lot of deals until deadline day last summer. I don't think this transfer window is over. Whether the Mirror is saying it's over or not, it's the Mirror. I don't think this transfer window is over. I think there's still a lot more to come from Manchester United. And Varane loaded up a skill video on Manchester on Insta. Did you? I will check out Varane's Instagram. By the way, any questions for me, please do pop them down below in the live chat. I'm going to wrap up the stream in the next 5 minutes, so do get your questions in quickly down below. And of course, if you're not subscribed to Alice Talks Football, why are you not subscribed? Go click that subscribe button, because tomorrow night, transfer news update. Wednesday night, transfer news update. And on Wednesday, there's always a shit ton of transfer news coming out. Thursday night, the Manchester United versus Leeds preview. And on Saturday, Manchester United versus Leeds watch along and match reaction. And I'm super excited for Saturday. Smash that like button if you're excited for Manchester United versus Leeds Saturday, because I am just so gassed for that game. FPL code is up there, by the way. And who are you most looking forward to seeing next season? Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho. And talking to Jadon Sancho, he says if Pep had Van der Beek, he would be on another world with such talent. 100%. If Pep had Van der Beek, he'd be doing Van der Beek Gundogan rotations, and Van der Beek would be absolutely sick for City, and we'd probably be sitting there going, whoa, I wish we got this Van der Beek guy. Ollie needs to use Van der Beek, and he needs to use him right. Do not use Van der Beek as your Bruno Fernandes replacement. Use Van der Beek as a player in the pivot, or have a TM next to Van der Beek, like the Donny Matic thing. You need to get Van der Beek, and you need to use them right. Mr. Randomizer says, do you reckon we can get Sancho playing against Leeds? Because I think he's more likely to play away against Southampton, and Varane will play after the international break, 4th or 5th game. I think Varane will come in the 2nd or 3rd game. I don't think Varane will play the 1st game. I think he'll be involved in the 2nd or 3rd game. But I do think we will see Donny van der Beek quite early on, and I do think we will see Sancho versus Leeds and all of that. And every window we get that no more transfer story at some point, but I do think it will be dependent on sales for us. And you know what, I 100% agree with you, Andrew. I have a feeling we're going to make one more signing, because I believe that Lingard will leave, and I believe that Pereira will leave, and I believe we are in a strong position to sign Camavinga if he wants us, and I know that we do desperately need a midfielder. I believe we will sign one more player, but if we don't sell anyone, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't sign one more player. But we've got so much debt with that, and we've had 6 weeks to sell them since we signed Sancho Varane. That would be a joke if we couldn't sell them. We've had 6 weeks to sign a midfielder since we signed Sancho Varane. It would be a joke if we didn't sign them. I think we will sign one more player, but there's always the possibility that we don't. We completely fuck it up, because, you know, it is Manchester United, and we know what they're like. Sancho says, I need to blackmail Ollie. We'll tell him I want Van der Beek to play with me. You honestly should. Merrick says, do you think it's a necessity to get a collaborative midfielder like Ndidi, which is an unrealistic target, or just go for Neves, who can do what Carrick did for United for many years? I don't know if Neves can really do what Carrick did. I think Neves can play in a pivot, but defensively he's not as sound as Ndidi, and I don't think he'd free up Paul Pogba or Donny van der Beek like Ndidi would do, but I think Neves would do a very, very good job on the pivot. And at the end of the day, look, if we can get Neves, I would go for Neves. Is he my first choice? No, but if we sign Neves, would I be happy? Yes, 100% I would be happy. So if we can get Neves, go for him. 100%. He's £35 million. Sell Lingard for 25 million. Sell Pereira for 10 million. Invest that in Ruben Neves. For me, it's not rocket science. Just, can we sell Lingard? Can we sell Pereira? I think that is the situation and all of that. Lingard, Jones, swaps, thoughts, just sell them both. I mean, Lingard, I think, could be useful next season, but he won't be because we've got Bruno in his position. But Phil Jones needs to be sold. Now, I'm going to wrap up today's live stream, guys. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to today's live stream. But what did we learn in today's live stream? Well, Romano and The Athletic are saying that United are really happy with Dalot, and they're thinking about keeping him this summer. The Manchester Evening News says we've ended our interest in looking for a right back. We will not go for Kieran Trippier on the same day that we've been told Dalot will stay. So it's looking very, very likely that Dalot stays and Trippier does not come. Now, we've been told from Fabrizio Romano that Manchester United would love a midfielder. We know from Romano that Manchester United have inquired about Saul, who would be available for £35 to £38 million, but Liverpool and Chelsea have also inquired about the player. We know from Fabrizio Romano that Manchester United are very, very keen on Camavinga, but we're waiting to see what Camavinga chooses. But we know Camavinga will have to sell. So we know Rennes will have to sell Camavinga. So what we've learned from today's video is we've ended our right back pursuit. We want a midfielder. We know Camavinga is a target. We know Neves is a target. We know Saul is a target. We might have to sell to buy. We know that Dalot is looking more likely to stay and all of that. That's what we learned from today's live stream. If Leicester lose Maddison, Lingard could go to Leicester. Sancho returned to training today as well in terms of other news. And the Mirror are saying we're not going to sign anyone else, but it has come from the Mirror, so I wouldn't be too worried. If you had any questions for me in the live chat that I didn't answer in today's video, do just comment them in tomorrow's video. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe and hit that bell on, because any questions or live chats I was unable to answer in today's video, I will be live tomorrow and I'll answer as many live chats and questions in tomorrow's live videos. If I didn't answer your live chat, just comment it in tomorrow's video. So make sure to subscribe with bell notifications on for that. If you are new, please do subscribe to the channel. Transfer news update video tomorrow, transfer news update live stream Wednesday, and of course, match preview to Leeds on the Thursday and the watch along on the Saturday with a match reaction. So do subscribe to all of that. Please hit that like button. We're going to go for 200 likes by the end of this video. So keep smashing that like button. Share this video with your friends. Share this video on all platforms. Thank you for all the support in today's video. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for watching. See you next time.